Hey man, welcome back to the Super Divorce Supercast.
Welcome.
Nicholas Villars here, aka Super Divorce, and today you are joining me and I'm joining you for episode 112 of the Supercast. Hope you're doing quite well out there on this July 31st, 2023, the final day of July this year, which means, in my opinion, we're just about done with summer. I hate to say it. Well, I don't really hate to say it. I'm always looking forward to fall time. It's my favorite time of the year. Kind of. Fall time's, well, I don't know, damn it. Because I really love the Christmas season as well. It's kind of like fall time for me begins the kickoff to this snowball that ends on January 1st. You know, of the following year, of the coming year, whatever you want to call it. Because you get fall time, you get the leaves changing, you get Halloween, you get haunted houses, you get scary movies, you get all that kind of shit, you get the Halloween candy. And then that kicks you right into Thanksgiving, and that's fun to see friends and family. Thanksgiving, November is kind of like it takes a little bit of a dip. There's a little bit of a somber feeling at the beginning of November because, you know, Halloween's all done until the next year. But you do know Christmas is right around the corner. And I'm not one of these people who whines and cries that it's going to be Christmas time. I'm not one of these people who goes out and starts bitching on Twitter and such about, oh God, they're already playing the Christmas music. Like, I don't care. I like that. I like both. I feel like it's kind of a rarity these days to find someone who's really into Halloween and Christmas. People these days seem to have split into two different factions where you gotta be the type of person who's all in on Halloween, or you gotta be all in on Christmas. I'm all in on both. And that's what I'm saying. As things gear up and you start moving towards fall time, that it just kicks off this season of nonstop celebration and fun. But I do admit, things take a bit of a dip in November because you've just gotten over all the excitement, the build up. Halloween happens, then it's over. Now you kind of you kind of in a way you step back to what it's like when you first start moving towards the Halloween season. I would say that's right where we are right now. In August. Well, we've got one day left of July right here, but once we get to August, you're going to start seeing Halloween stuff popping up at the stores. You're going to start seeing the decorations. It's going to start building up more and more and more, and it's kind of the same deal that happens at the beginning of November. In fact, you might see it at the end of October, which I am not a fan of. I'm all in. I am all for giving Halloween the slow build through August and September and really hitting its stride in October. I'm all for that. There's nothing going on right now. In August, there's really nothing going on where Halloween decorations is going to step on any other holiday's toes. So if you give October, September, and August to Halloween, I don't think that's a problem. When you start impeding on the Halloween season with Christmas decorations, I do have a problem with that. I don't like that. Because I don't want to leave the Halloween season before we have to. So I would prefer all that stuff stay in the back, keep it locked up, keep it ready, but keep it locked up until November 1st. Then you can have the massive teardown of all the Halloween shit. You can put on the clearance rack, and then you can move in the Christmas decor and the Christmas mirth and all the celebratory effects that go with Christmas. I don't think Christmas should get 3 months, because if you're going to give it a third month, that's October. That's Halloween's time. Why does Halloween get 3 months? Because there's nothing going on in August except the wind down to summer. Sorry, if that offends you as a Christmas person, a Christmas diehard, well, let me tell you something. I love Christmas too. I already said it. It's not about me liking one more than the other. It's just that Halloween gets more time because August has nothing else happening. And people are looking forward to the kickoff to that nonstop excitement that's going to take place from fall time through the end of the year. And then, of course, once January 1st hits, then you're really bumming hard. That's tough. I mean, it's okay, you got a new year ahead of you. People are doing their fucking whatever you call it. It's the resolutions. Everyone does the resolutions. Everyone goes to the gym for a week. Everyone eats healthy for a week, and then they fuck it off and they make jokes about it, and it's really not a joking matter. It's really not so funny. You shouldn't set resolutions, and you shouldn't set agreements with yourself that you have no intention of keeping. It teaches you not to trust yourself, and that's not good. Don't make shitty-ass, half-ass resolutions if you're not going to keep them. Don't do it. And then if you don't, especially if you don't joke about it. That's not funny. Get back on the fucking horse and do what you said you were going to do. How about that? Like I said, this podcast was going to come out today. Last week, I said, I'm sorry for getting it late. I need to hit Mondays. It's coming out on Monday this time. Anyway, we're winding down summertime. It's coming to a close. You're going to have to get in your swimming, your sunbathing, running with no shirt on outdoors. If you're a male, I suppose you can do that. If you're a female in certain areas, I think they've okayed that in some spots. I think that's now okay for ladies to run topless in certain areas. You're going to have to check with your local officials to find out whether or not that's kosher. I can tell you, if it is kosher, there's going to be maybe a bit of fanfare for you if you're out there as a lady. Hey, man. Hey, people aren't used to seeing that. Even if it is on the books that you're allowed, it's not so common. Even in the places where they have said, ladies, you can run topless. I guarantee you that the people, probably most of the board members in those areas and the legislators were probably guys who were looking forward to hitting the local racetracks and the running trails. Maybe just popping a squat on a bench. They said, yep, we'll decriminalize the topless women running. Sure. And I found a new favorite spot to hang out after work. The bench at the local women's running track. That's where those guys are going. Be careful. Some of them, they might not be on the up and up. I think in my area, you're probably not allowed to run topless as a female. I don't think that's allowed here. I've never seen it. Though, I can't imagine if you're a large-breasted female, I can't imagine you'd want to run topless. I think it would be too much bouncing. It'd be the equivalent of a male running with no pants or underwear on. There's too much loose accoutrement happening there. You want things, anything on your body, hair, you don't want things flopping around everywhere. That's why when I run, my hair gets pulled back. I pull my hair back in either a ponytail or a man bun. Because otherwise the hair is all in your face and that kind of stuff. Again, if I were allowed to run in the nude, if it were okay, if it were decriminalized, if we had a board of very horny women running the show here in Mason, and they said, you know what? We're going to decriminalize men running nude at the local running tracks and on the running trails. Guys, you can get out, feel free, no pressure, but feel free the next time you go running to go ahead and come out nude. I think most of us would probably still go out with at least a pair of tighty whities or a Speedo or something of that nature to keep all of the possible flopping bits contained in one nice package. You want it bound up there. You don't want even wow, just think of this. Some guys, I've never understood the boxer shorts. I don't understand boxer shorts. I don't like, it's just, I've had boxer shorts at various intervals in my life. Tried them here and there. It's I think they're awful. They get all bunched up. And especially if you're doing something athletic, going back to that problem, there's too much movement. Things need to be nicely contained. And that's what I was saying. Women out there who look at men running, if your area has not decriminalized topless running for women, you might look at the guys running by without a shirt on and be like, oh, fucking patriarchy strikes again. But ask yourself, would you really run topless even if you were allowed? Would you want to do that? With the bouncing and the flopping and the swaying and the knocking. They call them knockers for a reason. You run down the street naked, they're going to be knocking into each other. So I would say don't worry about the patriarchy on that one, just like I'm not worried about the matriarchy taking away my ability to run nude from the waist down. Because even if they said I was allowed, I wouldn't do it. It's not comfortable. This region needs contained the way this region needs contained on a female. I'm pointing to my breasts. I'm grasping my breasts if you're not watching on camera. Which you can do. If you're listening right now, please be aware that you can head over to youtube.com/superdivorce and you can go ahead and watch this podcast in video format if you would like to. So you can see me gesturing and such like I was just doing. I have to remember sometimes not everyone's watching this on YouTube. That's why I have to explain what my hands are doing. Anyhow, that's why I was bringing that up to say, get your running in, your outdoors running with as much skin exposed as you are allowed to expose, or as you would like to expose, because maybe you're allowed to expose more than you want to expose. Whatever. It's up to you. Whatever you feel comfortable exposing to the sun, you best get that in now, because soon you're going to be bundling up a little bit. Not full-fledged bundle. That's not going to happen until probably mid to late October. If we have a really warm October, then maybe into November when you're going to start wanting that winter stuff. But for right now, you've still got the opportunity to get out there in your summer attire and enjoy the weather. So do that. Take full advantage of it. Don't take the summer for granted just because you're really looking forward to the fall time. I've gotten plenty of sun recently. I've been out and about. I've done probably had more time like in the pool and such this summer than I have in quite a while. So that's been nice. I've been trying to make it a point to do that. Again, it can be easy if you're really excited for fall time to want to fast forward through August. But again, just try to take it in stride. Just try to enjoy the last vestiges of the summertime while you can. Now, I wanted to speak a little bit about my approach to YouTube. This occurred to me when I was thinking about ideas for the channel, things to do, new, fresh types of content, possibly opening up memberships at some point soon, because that can be very beneficial not only to me, not only to the content creator, but also to the subscribers and potential channel members. I am a member of a couple channels, and I like the exclusivity of it. I like the perks you get. It's neat. I feel like it's something you can offer your diehards. Make things feel a little bit more close-knit, and like they're getting a little something extra. Of course, yes, you pay for a membership. I'm not going to be charging $25-$30 a month. I'm thinking, maybe we have a $1 tier and a $5 tier or some shit like that, and possibly sending out some sort of knick-knack for people who sub at the $5 tier. You get some sort of Super Divorce monthly knick-knack, a button, a pin, a sticker, maybe a sticker pin combination, like a new design every month, something like that. And perhaps like a weekly members only live stream. I thought it'd be cool if you sub for a year, maybe you get a special year anniversary t-shirt. I'm trying to think of different ideas. If you got anything, let me know in the comments below. If you'd be interested in doing that at all, let me know. If you think it's dumb, or you're like, hell no, I'm not giving you any of my money, then you can let me know that too. But maybe there's a handful of you, 2, 3, 4, who would be like, yeah, I'll toss you $5 a month. Let me know, and then we'll get to work on it. I've been thinking that through for a while, but I just wanted to get kind of the core content firing on all cylinders and get things rolling along here. And I feel like I've hit a pretty good stride recently. And I like to keep that going. Not only keep it going, but keep adding to it. You see, a lot of gurus out there, they're saying, well, if you do a podcast, make a separate channel for your podcast. And if you play music, make a separate channel for your music. And if you play video games, do a separate channel for your games. And some even say if you do live streams, make a separate channel for your live streams. And I'm like, stop. Stop it. That's not what we're doing here. I'm not going to do that, okay? I'm not, and maybe it works for some people. I'm not saying I know better. I'm just saying I'm not doing that. As far as my YouTube channel goes, I like the variety in it. And I follow several channels who run things that way, and I like that about them. I like that I don't have to sub to their podcast, and then also their clips channel, and then also their interview channel, and then also their live stream channel. That's too much. Call me old-fashioned, but I kind of don't give a single spiraling shit about the algorithm here. I'm trying to defeat the algorithm. That's why I always talk about coming by the channel, checking out the channel for yourself. And when it comes to live streams, I've tried to schedule those in advance. I'm trying to let people know Tuesdays and Thursdays, 10:30 p.m. Stop by the channel. That's when I live stream. And then it's a surprise on the weekends. Sometimes I will, sometimes I won't. But the Tuesdays and Thursdays are locked in place. That way, we don't have to rely on YouTube's shitty-ass notification system to maybe or maybe not give you a notification. If you're a fan of this channel, if you like hanging out here, you just know, come by the channel, 10:30 p.m., Tuesdays and Thursdays, and there's going to be a live stream happening. And you can book it that way. And then you don't have to wonder, oh, I haven't gotten a notification. I wonder if Super Divorce is streaming. We're getting around that. I'm trying to distance myself from having to rely on the YouTube algorithm system. And I'm just doing my thing. Podcast, gameplay videos, live streams. There's going to be music happening again soon. And I like the fact that it's all here if you're watching on YouTube. If you're not, if you're listening somewhere else, just know that's what I'm talking about. youtube.com/superdivorce. That's kind of the hub where things are centrally located right now. Eventually, I'd like to move them off onto my own website and have that as like a backup, sort of an arc. I know that people aren't going to visit that probably in the numbers they would visit the YouTube channel, but having that option is kind of cool. Having that all the same content somewhere else, off site, in case something catastrophic happened and YouTube decided to delete my channel for whatever reason. They've done that to people. And if you're not large enough channel and you can't make enough noise, they just won't even respond to you. So I don't want to find myself in that spot. That's why I'm thinking beyond YouTube. It's kind of where things are located right now, but I've got an eye to the future. And I would like to move beyond butt cheeks, if you will. So anyhow, that's what I'm thinking. I'm not trying to ride all these different waves of various other creators. I look at what's going on. I pay attention, but I'm not trying to be a Mr. Beast clone. That's something that he criticized recently. I did see that. He was talking about, Mr. Beast was being interviewed, and he was talking about how he has given so many tips for free to other YouTubers and how he's broken down his approach to YouTube and the things that he does to be successful. And he's like, I was hoping people would take these ideas and use them in their own way. And he's like, what I've seen is a lot of Mr. Beast clones popping up. Say what you will about my channel, I'm no Mr. Beast clone. I'm not trying to be. People have talked about the way that content creation and digestion has been modified and has evolved over the past several years especially. So many people want these chop, 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 a cut and edit, a fucking zinger every 2 seconds. And you probably notice I don't do that. I'll throw in some little flourishes here and there, but I'm just not interested in making my shit look exactly the same as everyone else. And it's not really the pace that I operate at in life. I like to shoot the shit. I like the fact that you're going to hear me or see me pause from time to time. I'm not editing every breath out of my videos. I don't watch many YouTubers or content creators who work that way themselves. Some of them wildly successful. You don't have to do that. You don't have to operate at that speed and deliver your videos at that cadence to gain a following or to do well. I think you just have to be genuine. You have to be yourself, and maybe that takes more time. Obviously it has for me, because here I am and I'm not I'm not setting the world on fire or anything, but I feel like I'm happy with what I'm doing, and I do have it in mind to continue improving and trying new things. It's not like I've just found, all right, this is what I'm doing now and I'm comfortable, get used to it. I'm open to listening to ideas from the people who watch this channel, from the people who would like to see me do certain things, request certain games or certain styles of videos. I'm open to all that. I mean, ultimately, that's why I'm here, is to entertain people. It's fun, but if it was literally just for me, then I would never bother uploading anything at all. I could just sit here and record videos of myself and then watch them back without ever uploading them to the internet. anyone who uploads any sort of content to the internet is obviously interested in sharing it with people. And that's why I think that it's always struck me as a little disingenuous when I've heard creators, musicians, movie stars, painters, anyone who creates something and then puts it out into the public sphere and then says, well, I do it just for me. Bullshit. Bull fucking shit you do. If you did it just for you, you'd never bother sharing it with anyone else. There'd be no reason to, because you'd already be completely fulfilled with the act of creation, and sharing it, why would you bother? If it's 100%, even if it's 99% you, if you share it with the world and you put it out there, you care at least 1%, at least, what other people say about it, or whether other people are going to get entertainment from it. You're trying to help other people have a good time. Something. Some part of you cares about the sharing if you do share. Otherwise, you wouldn't do it. So for YouTubers or singers, songwriters, whatever, to say they don't care at all about what the audience thinks, that's a silly thing to say. And if they actually did somehow live that out, I think they're only shooting themselves in the foot. If you're not willing to at least listen to the people who are supporting you, then you do that over a long enough period of time, I don't think you'll have anyone left who is supporting you. That doesn't mean that you have to let your viewers, your fans dictate your content 100%, but you should be willing to listen to them, because oftentimes those people will have good ideas for you and they can help you improve. Even if it's a criticism, it might be something that you've not thought about, and you can go, oh, well, yeah, they make a good point. Maybe I can tweak this or that, and then my content will be more enjoyable. And if I do that, maybe they'll be more likely to share it with other people, which is how you grow. I talked about this a little bit before, but I think that's really how growth happens if you're an artist of any type, is that word of mouth. You can spend all the money in the world on ads and other bullshit out there, gimmicks, but in my opinion, the stuff that I've gotten into over time, the stuff that has stuck with me, a lot of it's been shared with me by other people who are very enthusiastic and wanted to share because they loved that thing so much. Those are the types of connections I think that really make an artist, a community, whatever. That's what makes stuff grow, is that excitement. And it's natural. And people who are excited, I think, naturally want to share that excitement with other people and get them in the mix. As long as they're not like super hipsters about it. Some people take that approach where they find something cool they like and they stifle the impulse to share it because they want it to be their little thing, which only hurts the creators. So I've tried to not allow myself to ever dip into that kind of mindset with things that I stumble upon that I thought were cool. It's like, no, the best thing I can do for this artist or this filmmaker or what have you is to share that with my friends and people that I think would enjoy it. So, yep. So yeah, if you're enjoying Super Divorce, the podcast or the fucking music or the videos, any aspect, fantastic way you can help out is just by sharing. Get a buddy to come over to a live stream. I had someone watching last week when I was playing My Friendly Neighborhood, the finale. I think I streamed for several hours, multiple hours that night on the finale, I believe. And maybe within the last 40 minutes or so, one guy came in, was watching, and then before I knew it, it's like 4 more people were there, interacting in the chat, and they all came from that one person who hung out for a little bit, decided that, oh, I'm having fun here. This is interesting. This is a fun place to be. I'm going to invite some buddies over here, and they all got in the chat, and that's cool. That's how shit grows. That's what I like to see. Eventually I'll have merch and shit like that to sling, and that'll be nice if people buy it. But what really makes me happy is seeing people who are entertained, people who are enjoying what I'm doing. That makes me enjoy this much, much more. Seeing the comments, seeing people in the chat. If we're not at 1 million subs right now, if we're not making millions of dollars a year, that's okay. That's okay, because I see people enjoying what I'm doing, and that makes it worth it. Really. If that sounds paltry or trite, so be it. But that's the truth. Again, why would I do this if I were not being sincere? I was just watching an interview with Post Malone, and he was talking about his songwriting process and the act of creation. And the way that he was talking about it inspired me, because it reminded me of how I feel about things. And he was also straight up about the fact that there was at least a time, or the times in his life where he felt almost like he was done with music. Like he was over it. When it became stressful, when it started to feel like a job to him, and he wasn't doing it for the reason he started doing, and that was because the act of creating it was fun and exciting, and then sharing that with people was cool. Anytime this interview where he was talking about the act of creation, when he was talking about sharing music, he always made sure to say that he did it for himself and his fans. That's like what drives him. He's like, I do this, because I love making music, and also for my fans. He never left that out. So many people leave that out. The fan part, the supporters part. That crucial part, arguably the most important part, gets left out by so many people who, I think, maybe view themselves as geniuses, or like they're bestowing a gift onto the world by making this song or making this movie or making this comic book or what have you. The fans get left out in the cold. They say things like, oh, well, if people enjoy it, great, and if not, then I'm doing it for myself. I mean, there's a certain aspect of that you have to identify with, because it might take you a while to get people interested in what you're doing. And at that point, before you've got people backing you up, before you have an army of fans, you do have to be able to push yourself to create. You do have to be able to push yourself to do your own best. But once people come into the mix, once you get an army of fans, once you've got people rallying behind you, they cannot be ignored. Or you do so to your own detriment. I guess you can ignore them, but again, if you do that for long enough, then they'll ignore you. They'll find someone else who they can support, who's not going to treat them like shit. It's kind of like a relationship. You might impress someone on the first date, the second date. You might impress them enough, wow them enough to get into a long-term relationship with you. But the majority of the time, if you treat them like shit for long enough, they'll go elsewhere. They'll find someone who's not going to do that to them. And it's no different with fans and creators. There has to be a sort of a give and take, even if it's just as simple as you saying thank you. Just acknowledging that they're there is better than ignoring them completely or saying silly things like, well, I don't really give a shit what the fans have to say. Taking this kind of hostile approach to them, taking them for granted. Stupid. It's a stupid thing to do. But there are plenty of artists out there who do that. And I think it's too bad. And I think that they will regret that someday. They will be sorry. Anyhow, I agree with Post. Do it for yourself, but also do it for your fans. Pay attention to them. Listen to what they're saying. That's where I'm coming from. Speaking of plans, October plans. I'm trying to think of something cool to do for October. I would like to bring back the kind of super scary theme. You know, Bender and I used to do this horror movie review show called Super Scary. Those videos are still up on the YouTube channel. We had fun doing that. You could go and watch those. But I would like to do a Super Scary October and something daily to celebrate the month of October, to celebrate the creepy time. And I always loved James Rolfe's Cinemassacre Monster Madness, where he would review a different horror movie every single day, every day of October. Every single day you go to the AVGN website or to Cinemassacre's YouTube channel, and there'd be a new horror movie review. And usually there was a theme. So he might do like, you know, giant monster like kaiju movies one month, and then the next year he would do black and white films. You know, there'd usually be a theme to it. So I was thinking, what could I do? I don't want to just rip that off and do like movie reviews. Okay, I do a lot of video games here. What if I did a daily video game review, something quick, maybe like a 3 to 5 minute review every single day throughout the month of October. But I don't know what the theme would be. I'm trying to think of what a good theme would be for horror game reviews throughout the month of October. And of course, I'm not saying I'll do that in place of all the other stuff I have going on. I'm not replacing the gameplay videos or the podcast or anything. I would say that would be an addition to. I think that would be fun. What do you think? Let me know on YouTube, over in the comments, or you can get at me on Twitter at SuperDivorce or on Instagram at SuperDivorceBand. I'm going to try and get back to using that more. Instagram's always been tough for me to try to like get into a groove with. I just don't know exactly what to share on Instagram. I don't want to do the exact same things that I share on YouTube or on Twitter. So I don't know. If you have any ideas for that, let me know too. Also thinking about a music project for October. I'm still considering that. I've got tentative plans, but I don't know how full I want to load up my plate here. I don't want to get too unrealistic, and I don't want to make it so I'm talking about all the shit I'm going to do and then I don't do it because I run out of time or something. But I've got an idea, and I don't know if it's going to happen yet. I'll let you know if it's going to happen. But I'm putting it out there a little bit, you know. I'm wetting the tip. That's it right now with that idea. It could be that we have another music besides the Wii music thing that I'm working on right now that's going to go up sometime soon. I think I said I was hoping to finish that weeks ago. And then I pushed it to the side. And how about Friday? There's no reason I can't have that done by Friday this week. So look for that. Look for the cover song to be uploaded on Friday this week. That will be let me see, what's the date going to be? Friday, August 4th. We'll have a cover song uploaded on YouTube and possibly on Spotify too. We'll see. All right. Well, what else we got here? How about the games that I played since last episode? First up, I played a demo of a game called Terror at Oak Heart. One word, Oak Heart. Very much inspired by the Terrifier films. It was an interesting game. It was like a side-scrolling horror game, just a demo, but it started off where you actually played as the killer who wakes up in his house and he's being beckoned to this boarded up room that I'm guessing he boarded up to keep himself out of it. Kind of like how, you've seen certain instances of the wolf man or a werewolf guy who will lock himself inside of a room when he knows there's going to be a full moon so he won't go out and kill anyone. Well, it seems like this killer was at least a little bit conflicted. Teddy is his name. You wake up as Teddy. He's got like a clown outfit on, but no clown face. Kind of crazy hair. And he's being beckoned down to his basement. And you go down there and there's a boarded up door that you're trying to get into because something's calling to you. Why is it boarded up in your own house? Like I said, probably because you were going to keep yourself out. But then, of course, you go and you have to solve the puzzles to unlock the door. You go inside and there's this monstrosity in there who tells you that it needs fed. And so it's kind of like a Little Shop of Horrors situation, but you play as a guy who's kind of dressed up like, well, he looks a lot like Art the Clown from Terrifier. And you play as him during the demo up to that point. When you unlock the door, you see the monster wants you to go out and kill people. And then perspective switches and you're playing as two of the survivors. Two people who are going to try to survive through the demo. And one of them does. One of them, not so much. You can go and check out the demo right on the Super Divorce YouTube channel. The Oak Heart, Terror at Oak Heart demo. Watch that. It's pretty quick. But I think what you play in the demo might be like exclusive to the demo. Because for the full game description, they said you're going to play as multiple survivors across the span of an evening, and you'll kind of switch back and forth between different ones to perform certain tasks, complete certain puzzles, and you see how many you can make it through the night with. If you lose one, that's it. Kind of like the Until Dawn scenario where you try to get all the people to survive, but maybe you do, maybe you don't, and that impacts the finale of the game. So I'll be looking forward to that one. I think that it's going to come out in several months. In fact, I did message the developer and asked if he had a tentative, release date, and he said he was hoping to get it out sometime in October for the Halloween season, which would be cool. I always love seeing new horror games come out in October, and movies. Nothing stupider, in my opinion, than seeing horror movies that come out like in August or at the beginning of September. It's like, don't you think if you waited just a little bit longer, you could get that Halloween bump where people want to go out, see Halloween films, scary shit? I don't know. I know that the filmmakers don't always get to choose that. That's like studio shit, but come on. Studio heads, these experts. Same people who ruined video game movies for so many years. You know, if the Five Nights at Freddy's movie had been made in the 1990s based on the video game series, you'd be lucky to see a Freddy Fazbear. You'd be lucky to see a single animatronic. They probably wouldn't have them in the damn movie. And in fact, they tried to do that. Scott Cawthon talked about the first script that had been presented to him when he signed on, I guess, to make a FNaF film. And luckily, he, I think, had ultimate say over all the creative decisions when it came to the creation of this film. That's why it's taken a long time, because he wanted to get it just right. It's his baby. But he talked about a script that was given to him where there were no animatronics. And there apparently was no Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. Freddy Fazbear was like a stuffed animal line. And somehow, like little plushy stuffed animals. So there were no animatronics in this movie, in this script that he got. It was just a famous, like, Teddy Ruxpin or some shit like that. And then they all come to life in a big city like New York, and they attack people, and they take over the city. Like, I'm imagining Critters, but with little Freddy Fazbear dolls. Like, how fucking stupid do you have to be? I'm just glad that it seems like we're moving past that. Because, wow, big surprise, Hollywood's realized that if you just make the movies kind of like the games for these huge popular franchises, then all the people who love the games will go and watch the movies, and they'll also tell other people to go and watch them. The movies will be reviewed well, and they'll do great at the box office. I think that for so long they operated with this sense of hubris. Like, oh, well, those video game writers, they don't know what they're doing. Let us take your title and a very loose connection to your games and we'll make it better. We'll turn it into movie fare so that moviegoers will enjoy the experience. Because the people who watch movies are totally different than the people who play video games. Video game players, they don't go to the cinemas. I'm glad that mentality seems to be dying off. Should have died off long ago. Speaking of FNaF, I played the FNaF Ruin finale. Talked about FNaF Ruin a little bit on the last podcast, and I said hopefully I'd be talking about the finale. Had one more session to play, and I did complete it, and everything I said last time still holds up. Great atmosphere, a very different experience from the base game of Security Breach. Different type of gameplay, much more claustrophobic, kind of funneled in one direction, if you will. Still some secrets to discover, which is neat, but the Pizzaplex, instead of being this bright, shiny, vibrant, basically like an entire mall sort of crossed with a fucking pizza restaurant with arcades and shops and a huge dining area and a stage, and you can go anywhere you want to just about, and a daycare. It's like all this stuff, bright, shiny, full of life in the base game, in Security Breach. In Security Breach Ruin, all that stuff has just come crumbling down. It's very dark. It's very dingy. It's claustrophobic. There's some good jump scares in it. Some familiar faces that have been augmented in a way. Characters that you ran into in the first base game that you'll see again, but not in the exact same way you saw them before. So I know that Security Breach hadn't been out for a long time, but it does have a lot of like nostalgic callbacks. It feels nostalgic when you're going through and you're like, oh, I remember this part, but wow, look how different it is now. You know, that's kind of cool. That adds to it. That creates a cool experience, I think. So I would highly recommend it. I will just say the ending that I got was no good. I did not like the ending at all. I don't even really need to talk about what happens. Chances are, if you play it through on your first time, there are multiple endings, and I've not gotten all three. I think there are three. I've only gotten one. I would bet with probably 99% certainty that on your first playthrough, you'll get the same ending that I got. I would say most people on their first run probably get this really stupid Feels lazy to me. I feel like a lazy ending, a real letdown for a game that has this like building tension all throughout, and then you get to the ending and it's like, that's it? That's what you got for me? For real? So, still, I mean, yeah, I don't even need to say worth it. It's because the only thing it costs is your time to play it if you already have Security Breach. It's a huge DLC. I mean, it's arguably its own game. I could have seen paying $29.99 for it, $19.99. I don't know if I would pay like a full $50, $60 for it, but definitely like a $29.99 game. Yeah, no problem. So the fact that they just offered that to people who already had Security Breach, it's amazing. It's fantastic. So if you never even played Security Breach itself, the base game, now you've got Ruin on top of it, man, go get it today. Go get it now. Give it a shot, please. Immediately. Not just on PC. You can play that one on PS4, on PS5, on Xbox One and Series X. Not on the Xbox Series X yet, Ruin. You can play Security Breach, the base game. Ruin has not come out for the Series X yet. Keep that in mind. Okay. What else? Another finale. I talked about My Friendly Neighborhood. I was playing through that on live streams last week and got through that one on Thursday night. Finished that one up. That one had let me see, the ending of that one. I got the bad ending. I got the bad ending on My Friendly Neighborhood. Sesame Street from Hell is kind of how I referred to it. Environments, gameplay, visuals, music, voice acting, A+ across the board. It felt like a AAA title. I can say that still. I think I said it last week. It's only solidified now, my opinion on that. Feels like a AAA title. Feels better than AAA because you can tell that there's love and attention and care that gone into it. And my big letdown with that one was not necessarily the bad ending that I got, but the fact that when I finished the game, I was like, all right, guys, because I was live streaming at the time. I was like, all right, that ending was kind of poopy. Because it gives you a choice. Without spoiling the whole thing, you have a choice to make at the end. And I knew that I was making the bad choice. I was making the wrong choice. I was not making the satisfying choice, but I asked the chat, I was like, what do you guys want to do? What should I go with? I honored their choice. They wanted me to do the wrong thing, and I did it. I'm not blaming them. I'm just saying that to let you know, look, I consult my chat when I live stream. Huh? Look at that. I listen to people. It's an interactive thing. You see how that works? So I asked them, what should I do? I did the wrong thing, and then go back to the main menu after the credits. I was like, all right, no problem. We're not going to end it there. I'll go back and I'll see what the right ending looks like. What does the good ending look like? Went to load up my game, and you know what happens? When you complete My Friendly Neighborhood, your save file is like, it becomes a closed book, like case closed, game completed. Not like a separate autosave file. The file that you use for your manual saves all throughout the game. Case closed automatically when you beat it. And you can't load it up again. How about that? So it took me over 10 hours to get through that game. And I went back, tried to fire it up again, tried to fire up my last save because, this is typical. If you've played games like this before the ending of the game, you find your save spot before the last boss fight or whatever. You hit that last save, so if I lose the boss fight, I'm just going to go back here before the ending. And you figure if it has multiple endings, just fire up that last save, do things a little bit differently next time, see the other ending. And that's what I was going to do, only I couldn't do that because my save file was completed. Shut, case closed, cannot be accessed. Good day, sir. And so that really kind of bugged me. That pissed me off a little bit. It's like, why in the world would you do that? I don't know if that was a bug. I looked on the Steam discussions page to see if anyone else had mentioned that, and I couldn't find it anywhere. I was like, that seems like something people would be really upset by. Especially when you're dealing with a game that is that long. You're not talking about run through this game real quick in under an hour to see the other ending. You're talking about sit down and play this again for 10 hours, though I could probably do it quite a bit faster now that I've been through it once, but still, even if you cut it in half, all you got to do is sit down for another 5-hour playthrough, and then you can see the good ending. Like, that's not, with so many other games to play, and so much shit on my plate, I don't have that time. Or let me say, I don't like using that phrase. Sorry. I try really hard not to say that in my life in general. I don't have time. I'm not willing to make time for that. I'm not willing to do that. There are so many other things. So many other games. Music. This podcast. Hanging out with my family. All this kind of stuff that I've got swirling around. Things to do on the to-do list. Sit down and play a game that I just spent 10 hours on. Play that through again so I can see maybe a 60-second clip that shows an alternate outcome. I'm not doing that. Hell nah. Hell nah. I'll look up a video. I'll watch someone else do that on YouTube. I have no problem with that. That's unreasonable in my opinion. I think that was a bad move. I don't understand that bit of programming at all. I mean, maybe in their minds they're thinking, well, this will be a way to make people play back through multiple times. Because you can find there are cheats you can unlock and maybe think, oh, well, they can go back through with the cheats and it'll be a fun experience for them. Yeah, I understand that. But just to see the alternate ending, another 5 to 10 hours with the game you just spent that much time with? No. Sorry. Not happening. A near flawless experience up to that point. But flawless no more. Still worth playing. Definitely. Don't let the ending ruin it for you. The entire game itself is awesome. Just know when you get to the end, if you're conflicted, if you're like, oh, if I do that seems kind of shitty, don't do that. Be nice. Do the nice thing so that you can see the good ending, because the bad ending is not satisfying in the least. It's not like you did the bad thing and then, oh God, look at this crazy shit that happens. It's just like, it's just a downer, drab, deflating, nothing satisfying about it ending. So don't do that. Stay away from that one. Next game, Fogbound Terror. That was an intriguing one. You're playing as, you're a woodcutter, a lumberjack of sorts, in this kind of lumberjack compound. And it's got sort of a throwback PS1 texture look to it. It's a first-person game. You're playing as a lumberjack. You're living with several other lumberjack woodcutter technicians in this mysterious house out in the woods. and something about the forest is off. Maybe the trees are coming to life. People go missing. It's kind of a mysterious story. You have to piece the puzzle together. You got to solve puzzles. You got to interact with your woodcutter friends. And that was kind of an interesting one. It maybe took me about an hour to get through. No, less than that. I say an hour because I played it longer than I needed to. It took me about a half hour to get through, and I thought there was a second ending that I could unlock, but I couldn't because there's only one ending. So many of these horror games have multiple endings now. When something like just bullshit happens, I immediately think, okay, well, there's a good ending. Let me go back and try and get that because I did this and this and this. In the Fogbound Terror game, there are some choices you can make, and there are some things you can do differently on your second playthrough. So that's why I was thinking, oh, well, I'll do those things differently on my next run and complete it a bit more quickly and hopefully see the second ending. And I couldn't because there was only one ending. But it was okay. Not too bad. That one was on itch.io. I found that one over there, and then played a game last night called Home Alone. Not with Kevin McAllister. It's not that game. It's not the 1992 Super Nintendo or Genesis Home Alone game. And it's also not the Fears to Fathom Home Alone game, which I played a while back here on the channel. It's a new Home Alone game, which was basically like a cheap rip-off version of Fears to Fathom Home Alone. That's how I would view it. It seemed like someone's kind of starter game, maybe the first game this person had ever made, or second. A lot of assets that I'd seen in other games before that you would get in like a free asset pack for beginners, for beginning game designers. Nothing in the game really like jumped out at me and said, oh, look at the cool work that the developer did on this particular thing. It was just like a lot of stock shit. And long story short, you're a guy in your house at night doing some work. You go to bed, then there's a rap on your front door. You go down, look, there's a drunk guy standing there. You can either give him money or not. It seems to have no bearing on the ending you get. There are two different endings in this game. You send him on his way. Then in the morning, you wake up. You head over to the local greengrocer. You pick yourself up a snack before work. And then when you're walking back home, this murder... Oh, sorry. I forgot something very important. When you're cashing out at the greengrocer, the cashier says, hey, have you heard about this guy? He's going around killing people in this region. Did you hear about this? And you hear about this, Kev? Serial killers back in the nose. You say, oh, yeah, or no, I haven't heard of that. Whatever. Your answer doesn't really matter. You can pick multiple answers. Doesn't really matter. The guy then hands you a gun. The cashier. He points a gun right at you, and you see the gun pointing at your face. And I was like, whoa. And he's like, here, take this. You better take this for protection. And you take the gun with you, and you got two options. As you're walking home, you see a guy off in the distance, just some random dickhead standing in the middle of the road, and then he begins running at you, full sprint. If you shoot him repeatedly, I mean, you got to load him up. The first time, I got the bad ending because I waited until he got maybe 10 feet away, and I popped him right in his face like 5 times. And he still closed that gap and got me. And I was like, what? I just shot this guy in his face multiple times, and he still... Here's the crazy thing. When he runs at you, he doesn't have a knife in his hand. He doesn't have a cattle prod. He doesn't have a sword or a shotgun or a hatchet. He's got nothing. He just runs at you, and if you don't kill him in time, the ending is that he jump scares you. Like his face takes up the entire screen. It starts shaking like this. And there's this like, that's the wrong noise. It's, it's like a scream, like a lady scream, as his face jumbles around the screen. And that's it. And then the credits roll. So after I got that ending, after I failed to kill him, I was like, well, maybe you can't kill him. Maybe you got to do something different. I went back to the greengrocer. I did not take the gun. That's a choice you can make. I didn't take the gun from the greengrocer cashier. I just took my satchel of groceries with me, and I thought maybe it's one of these clever endings where you just have to stand there and let him run up to you, and then you'll like give him your groceries, and that'll be like the funny haha friendly ending. Well, I stood in the road. He ran full sprint at me, and then he stopped. Unlike before, where when I was shooting him, it just went from like shooting him in the face to jump scare. This time, there was this like split second where he ran up, stopped right in front of me, and just stared at me. And I was like, oh, maybe I guessed right. Maybe something is happening. And then as soon as that thought was occurring, and I got the jump scare again and the bad ending. And it tells you that. Bad ending. Go back again, one more time, and I just started loading him up from down the street. I was like, maybe I just didn't shoot him enough to kill him. And I loaded him up real good, and he takes a tumble. And when he's on the ground, I walked up and I continued shooting his ass. And that was it. And that was the good ending. And the hilarious thing was when the game's over, it says basically, it gives you the story. And it's like, oh, well, congratulations, you survived and shot dead the killer the police have been tracking down for the last 5 years. And when I read that line, it just kind of struck me as hilarious because he's like running at you down the middle of the street, not at 3 a.m., at like 6 in the morning. Shows you the time when you're walking back home from the greengrocer. It's like 6 a.m. almost. I think it's actually a quarter till, okay? But, people are starting to leave for work that early. That's not a sneaky killer time. And it's not like he waited for me to get into my house. That's what I thought would have happened. Oh, this guy's been on the run for 5 years and he's killed all these people. He's got to have some sort of crazy method down here. He's got to be a very methodical serial killer to stay on the run for that long, leave this trail of bodies behind him. But then this time, he just sees someone walking down the street, and he's walking down the middle of the road, and he says, there's my next target. And he just runs at you and starts screaming. Ah! And I don't know what happened next. You never see a knife. You never see his hands go up to strangle you. You just, what? Does he scream you to death? Frighten you to death? I don't know. But anyway, that was Home Alone. And those are the games I played since last we spoke. So I have, another round of games to talk about next week, I hope. And I think that just about wraps us up for now. So please look forward to live streams Tuesday night, Thursday night, 10:30 p.m. The Super Divorce cover song, the extra special cover song coming out this Friday, and your regular ass videos, your playthroughs, your gameplay vids, your super plays, every day, going for every day right now. So stay tuned. If you don't get a YouTube notification, just come by the channel anyway. Let's take it back to the olden days when we weren't just waiting for these notifications all the time. Just stop by the channel. Stop by the channel, I would say, by 8 p.m. every day. I'll probably have that day's video posted. Except for live streams, obviously. That's 10:30 p.m. But if you want to see what the daily upload is, just stop by the channel at 8 p.m. and the thing will have been uploaded at that point. do that. Don't just do that for me. Do that for any channel that you love. Stop by their channel. Don't count on YouTube to give you those notifications, because they probably are not giving you all the ones you want. And we can defeat the algorithm like this. We can do this together. You know? If you haven't done so, please, and you're watching on YouTube, sub to the channel, bong the gong, hit the notifications bell just for fun, just in case something does happen and they want to give you notifications. You can do that. Like this video. Comment below with questions, concerns, requests, whatever. The comment section is your oyster on YouTube, so crack it open, slam it down your throat, and wash it down with a nice tall frosty mug of cocktail sauce. You can find me on Twitter at SuperDivorce, on Instagram at SuperDivorceBand, and as mentioned, I play music from time to time, and you can check out the tunes I do have posted right now on Spotify, iTunes, Amazon, wherever you stream your horse shit. You can find Super Divorce. Just click on the song you're choosing, try it out. If you don't like it, try another one. And another one, again and again, until you find one you do like, because I believe there's something there for everybody. That's what I believe, in my heart, that you will find a song you like if you stick with it long enough. Hopefully you like all of them from the get-go. That's about it for right now. Until next time, everyone. Thank you for watching. Take real good care. Thank you for listening as well. Now, let me try this again. Take real good care. Keep kicking ass. Love you lots. Lord willing, I'll be back very soon with another video for you to watch or podcast to listen to. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
We gonna go viral with this one.